Hey guys, welcome to or back to my channel. Today, in honor of my veganiversary, we're going to be talking about everything that I have learned about being vegan and just veganism in general over the past 4 years, which it feels weird saying that it's been that long, but I'm also extremely proud of that because going vegan was something that I really wanted to do as soon as I learned what it was and kind of figured out why I wanted to do it. For a little bit of backstory, I first went vegan in 2018 when I found Freely's channel. If you know, you know. Honestly though, while Freely was extremely controversial, still is from my knowledge. I don't think she stopped creating content, but while she's been problematic, she's also got so many people to go vegan, so I guess props to her for that. Anyway, essentially I've been vegan for quite some time now, and I feel like now I can give a more comprehensive overview of what being vegan is actually like, because I feel like veganism in social media is sometimes very different from actual veganism in just day-to-day life. There's definitely a kind of stereotype when it comes to somebody that's vegan, just purely based on what is portrayed on social media. I'm just here to kind of debunk some of that, share what my experience was like, and also make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because I would seriously love to have you here and it really does help my channel. So the first thing that I'll say right off the bat is that it is so much easier than you think. I will admit that in the beginning there definitely is a learning curve. Obviously you've been eating animal foods for your whole life most likely, and you know, cutting those foods out, it means that you're going to have to find new foods to kind of replace those foods with. And while there are so many incredible vegan alternatives out there now, it's still definitely a process transitioning from one standard diet to something new. In the beginning though, I feel like it's quite fun getting to try all these new foods. I personally am not a picky eater at all, so that was like a whole new adventure, and like learning how to cook vegan food, it was all very fun for me. Obviously in the beginning, you know, you kind of slip up on occasion because you are still learning how to read ingredients labels. But in my case, it really only took like a month or two to adjust to it. And then after that, it was very, very straightforward. And honestly now, like where I'm at currently, I'm going into my 5th year of being vegan now. And honestly, animal foods just don't exist to me anymore. Like I genuinely forget that they exist. And then when I go out, obviously it does get a little bit trickier, but it's seriously like not difficult for me at all anymore. The next thing was something that it took a while for me to learn, and once I've learned it, let's just say I was a lot happier and everyone around me was a lot happier. This is like kind of embarrassing to talk about. I feel like something that every new vegan goes through is that initial like year or so where you know, have just acquired all of this new information. You're feeling extremely passionate about the movement and the community, and like you just want to shout everything from the rooftops. And something that you have to learn is that not everybody is going to respond well to that, and certain people are just never going to get it. So you have to know when to hold your tongue and when you actually can open up a conversation with someone, because chances are if they like are genuinely coming to you with a question or wanting to hear about why you went vegan, like that is a very different scenario. Also, something that happens a lot is people are just going to question you in any scenario. Of course, friends and family right off the bat, but I've had even strangers at restaurants, at the grocery store ask me questions, and you kind of have to have like a pre-curated response so that you can keep the conversation light, kind of address what they are asking you, but just like don't go into detail, because a lot of people can often get defensive, feel like sometimes they will take that as you feeling like you're better than everyone else just because you're vegan, and you really need to know when to hold your tongue. And also understand that certain people will not be convinced, so save your energy for the people that are coming to you from like a place of genuine curiosity, because that is going to be such a more productive and lighthearted conversation. But yeah, in general, it's not your job to convince people. I think it's great to lead people in a good direction, but yeah, just try to keep it as light as possible. And also, on a similar note, this is why it is so important to be educated yourself, because if people do ask you questions, you want to be able to give a proper response. Okay, the next thing is to get frequent checkups. This is something that you don't want to do super often, but you do want to do it on like a, you know, yearly basis, I would say is probably good, because certain people, regardless of their diet, have a harder time taking in certain vitamins. So you really just want to to know your body specifically, and also in that first transition phase where you're experimenting with different meals, you want to make sure that you're hitting all of your targets. I get my blood tested probably about once a year, maybe twice a year. I think everything, my entire time that I've been vegan, everything has been great, if not better. So I'm not deficient in anything is what I'm saying. The next thing is kind of a fun one, and that is you have to eat bigger portions. I feel like this part is kind of just common knowledge just because, you know, plant foods are naturally lower in calories, so you have to eat more to replace those calories if you want to maintain your current weight and everything. So there's numerous ways that you could go about doing this, whether that's increasing your amount of snacks that you have in a day or just having bigger individual meals or both. I kind of do both. But also something that is so important, and it's something that I did not prioritize enough in the beginning. This is largely because I went vegan when it was super trendy to be high carb, low fat. It is so crucial to prioritize protein and healthy fat, things like olive oil and avocados and nuts and seeds, if you can have them, that is, but also things like tofu, tempeh, legumes, any source of like vegan protein. So important to feel actually satiated, and obviously just to have your health be in a good place. And yeah, also I'm just gonna take this time to remind you that your stomach is not meant to be flat the entire day. It is normal for it to expand throughout the day as you nourish your body, and you need to do that in order to have energy and to be healthy, and it is a normal human function. The next thing, there are good and bad substitutes. So I'm actually just gonna take this time to pop up some images on screen so that if you want to screenshot things to know my recommendations, then you can do that. So if you're looking for vegan cheeses, these are the ones that I recommend. These are the brands that I know are really good. Vegan yogurts. And also, because I feel this is equally as important to note, these are my favorite ice creams. And they are so good. As a rule of thumb, typically the cashew-based ice creams or just vegan dairy products in general, cashew-based products are the best in my experience. The only exception to that is Coconut Bliss. I love those ice creams too, and those are coconut-based. Stay away from Daya if you can, because it is not the best vegan substitute brand. Like, there's so many better ones out there. Something that I have also learned is that veganism can actually be more affordable than a regular diet, because when you think about it, meat and dairy, like, it can be expensive if you're getting like the higher quality items. For example, if you're getting a nice cheese, it's gonna probably be a little bit expensive. So really, if you're basing your vegan diet on whole plant foods and items that you can buy in bulk, things like rice, potatoes, pasta, and then obviously like produce, your whole foods, stuff like that, if you kind of steer more on that route, then it's quite affordable, and you can always find ways to get things at a lower price. Costco is great because you can get massive quantities of things and just freeze it. I honestly don't eat like the vegan specialty foods that often. It's really only if, say, we have family coming over and they're having a certain thing and I kind of want to have something fun and special too. So this is kind of just me debunking the myth that you have to be rich to be vegan, because trust me, I'm not rich. My family is not rich, and we've made it work. This one is also really great. Literally anything is possible. If you are craving a certain food, chances are you can find it vegan. If you have like a family comfort meal that you guys love to make, chances are there is a recipe for it on Pinterest, on Instagram, on YouTube. I actually wanted to take this moment here to share some of my favorite like vegan food creators. My friend Emma that lives in Australia, she has an Instagram called Power Through Plants. I will have it up on screen right now. She posts tons of amazing vegan recipes, all amazing healthy ingredients, and they're also very easy to follow along to. And also, I do have some of my own what I eat in a days up on my channel as well. But yeah, I promise you, you never have to miss out on anything. So the first question is, how has your menstrual cycle been impacted? And honestly, it hasn't. From my knowledge, it has not changed one bit. I say from my knowledge because I actually have been on the pill since before I was vegan. So long story short, I had absolutely no problem getting my period back. Like, it came back immediately. Everything has been fine in that sense. How do I order at restaurants? So luckily my family's favorite food is sushi. So we usually go to like a Japanese restaurant when we do go out, which to be honest, it doesn't happen very often, but especially Japanese restaurants, there are so many amazing vegan options. I always get things like the cucumber roll, the veggie roll, the avocado roll, yam tempura rolls are really good. I also love the mango avocado roll. But also when we've gone to other kinds of restaurants, chances are now there are vegan options, but if not, you can always just get a vegetarian option and ask them to leave out the dairy products. That is usually pretty foolproof, and if all else fails, what you do is you go to the sides and you piece together a meal from sides. That in most scenarios has worked okay. I can't say it's ideal, but if you're in a dire situation, it's not bad. Would you ever consider going raw vegan? Probably not. I can probably see myself increasing my amount of like fresh fruits and veggies when I'm eventually living in a warmer climate. Obviously, my plan is to live in Australia for at least a year. So while I'm there, I'm probably gonna eat more raw food, but I don't think I could ever give up cooked food, and I don't really see a reason why I would. I've never fully understood the concept of raw veganism because like cooked food isn't bad for you. What is one thing you wish you knew before going vegan? That eating 10 bananas a day and like 50 dates and then having a dinner consisting of just potatoes is not normal, nor is it the epitome of health. Sorry, Freely, if you're watching this, I love you. You got me to go vegan, but yeah, raw till 4, high carb, low fat, nah, not for me. So that's what I thought veganism was. I didn't know that you could have like a balanced vegan diet with proteins and fats. My mom tried to tell me, that I needed to eat protein, especially given how much I was dancing at the time, but you know, sometimes you just have to learn things for yourself. How did you start veganism at such a young age? It's hard and upsetting in a meat-eating household. Yeah, it is. And it was definitely challenging at times. Let's just say I was extremely determined. When I talked to my mom first about going vegan, she was honestly very supportive right off the bat. I'm pretty sure the first thing that we did was go to the grocery store and pick up some vegan products. Like it was a great experience in general. But also right away we had to come to an agreement that I was going to start cooking my own food, just because, you know, my mom and my dad, like they have their own routine, they cook their own dinners, their meals, like they're not going to go out of their way to create an entire extra meal just for me. So I started immediately taking over my own cooking, preparing all of my own food. If I needed anything specific from the grocery store, I always had to write it down. This is all stuff that I still do to this day, and I think like just the biggest thing is you have to contribute, you have to help out your parents, you have to make it extremely easy and understandable for them. Really, parents just want their kids to be healthy. By you taking action and being organized, showing them that you can eat a balanced and healthy vegan diet and not miss out on anything, then really that's all that is going to matter to them. Anyway, I hope that this video gave you some extra insight, some information on what being vegan is like. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Other than that, here's my Instagram and TikTok if you would like to see more content from me. And until next time, I will talk to you in my next video. Bye!